89.3. And Jill, it's that time of year again. We are talking Christmas and Christmas songs.
Oh, boy. And we've been having so much fun just hearing what says Christmas to you. And I know, Bridget, you and I have talked about what says Christmas to us, but we've got some guests that we want to find out what says Christmas to you.
Yes, we've got Reverend Shawn Allen, who is with Community Life and also Jazz Nativity, this Christmas concert that's just a few days away this Saturday, December 7th. So, Shawn, what Christmas song really sets off the season for you?
So I grew up with my dad playing the same music off of a cassette tape. I'm really, of course,
dating
myself there. But he actually died when I was really young, and so I kept this tape. And so it was so special to me to play this tape for as long as we used cassette tape players. And then I've been able to recreate the list on Spotify. So anyway, Andy Williams, it's the most wonderful time of the year. When I hear that, then I feel like I've been brought back to my childhood listening to that cassette tape.
Oh, I love that you said that, because you've also brought in the studio your son,
That's
Walker, who is not, yes, your son, but also a musician of your own right. So what Christmas song says it's the season for you, Walker?
I've grown up with my dad playing one specific song, and it's We Three Kings. And every time I hear it, since I've been a part of almost every single Jazz Nativity that he's done, we've done that song. So it just, it's like, oh, it's that time of the year again.
And it's fitting because we're actually going to hear that song before we are through today, Jill. But great to have some musicians in the studio on this Wednesday.
Well, and great that you're going to be doing something that the whole community can come to together to really say it's Christmas time. We're celebrating the birth of our Savior, and we're also aiding our community. Shawn, talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we're really excited with Community Life to share this Jazz Nativity event. This is an event that I've been producing for about 15 years, but here in South Florida for the past decade or so. And what we do is we just give people a beautiful sound of the season. We play jazz and blues and gospel and just really kind of some soul-stirring ballads, and then we tell the story not only of the birth of Jesus, but also the potential story of people who are there partnering together to bless their community. And so that's really what Community Life is all about. We're trying to help people answer Jesus' prayer that many of our listeners are familiar with there in John 17. But our kind of niche is, hey, if we can get working together to meet needs in our community, we can reveal some of the unity that Jesus prayed for. And then if that happens, according to Jesus, people can know that the Father sent him and that the Father loves them.
So, yes, we're celebrating his birth, but you're also bringing us together to really live out his mission.
Exactly.
Yeah, to bring salvation to people and let them know he's there. So now Christmas time is obviously very special, but what's special about Christmas music in particular, you think?
Yeah, so I believe, having shared these events for so long, I believe Christmas music, both, the kind that we might hear like on a Sunday morning in a worship service and the kind that we might hear playing around in the mall, both, it opens up people in a very, very unique way, kind of for the same reason of the story that I just shared with this song from my childhood. People have those emotional connections to these songs, again, both the ones they might hear as they're shopping and the ones they might hear in a worship service, that just kind of make them more open, I think, to kind of a deeper message. And so what we often do is use these songs as a way to connect with people, like at a very deep place. And then we can share messages and share kind of a call to action that they might not normally be so willing to respond to. And so that's what I believe music has the great potential to do.
And there's nothing like being together to listen to that music and participate in it. I was saying earlier when a time where I was at a Christmas concert and they were doing the little drummer boy and just that percussionist walking down the aisle right next to me and that huge drum and hearing that reverberate. I mean, there's nothing like the music being right there, being a part of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll have a very similar experience at Jazz Nativity on Saturday night. We have such a gifted saxophone player. His name is Mickey Smith Jr. Some of our listeners may know him, and he's going to be walking down the aisle playing his saxophone, this powerful ballad called Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, at the very first part of our event, kind of setting the stage for how people for hundreds of years were longing for God to send a Messiah. And so that's how our whole event gets kicked off. So.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Jazz Nativity is this Saturday night at 7 o'clock. We have links to where you can find out all the information about it. It's in West Palm Beach.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so you can get tickets, and the tickets go towards Community Life, this ministry that's really helping to meet the needs in our community in Jesus' name.
Now, one of the really fun things about local live Christian radio is that we can hear some live music. Would this be a time to hear just a little bit of what we're going to hear on Saturday night?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me, just as a sort of an intro to this, what I want to share just briefly is just a powerful story of someone's life being changed that reminds me a lot of the characters in this song. So Community Life has brought together 8 different Christian organizations to minister to unsheltered neighbors there on Military Trail, kind of near the Forest Hill intersection there in West Palm Beach. And so we're there every Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3, all these different organizations partnering together. Anyway, one day, just a couple of weeks ago, a man went to sleep one night with no religious background, no church background whatsoever, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, felt God was prompting him to pray. He ended up walking down Military Trail that next morning and felt, remember, this person with no religious background felt God urging him to go into this particular building. That's the building that we've been at since the end of September, and our volunteers welcomed him, loved on him, ended up sharing the gospel with him. He ended up making a decision to follow Jesus. And that his story, Alexander's story, reminds me of the story of the song we're about to play, where we have these people really far from where Jesus was born, who were guided into the presence of God right there to actually bring their offerings of worship to Jesus from so far away. And again, these people with certainly no background, as far as we know, connected to the Jewish story, and yet they were brought right to where Jesus was to worship him. So we'd love to share that song with you. We Three Kings.
Yes, a part of what you'll hear this Saturday night at Jazz Nativity, again, helping to raise efforts for this mission of Community Life. But right now, let's hear from Shawn Allen and Walker.
We 3 kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Ceasing never, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Frankincense to offer have I, incense owns a deity high, prayer and praising, home and raising, worshiping him on high. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect life.
Wow, that is going to be just a taste of what you will hear this Saturday night at Jazz Nativity, this special Christmas concert event. It is ticketed, but it's free for children under the age of 12, and it is going to support community life, which is helping to reach the needs of the homeless and even beyond that in our community here in West Palm Beach. Again, we have got links to them at ericandbrigitte.org. But I just love hearing that live music, Shawn and Walker singing for us. Now, obviously, you grew up in a musical home, Walker. What made you decide to actually, now you're a freshman at Palm Beach Atlantic University, you're studying vocal music. Music, obviously, huge impact on you. But why did you decide to study it?
I grew up in a music household, so I've been in love with music since before I can even remember, because I've been told stories of how when I was about 2, I think, of how I was singing at the table and I always tried to get everyone to join in rather than eating my dinner. So I've always been in love with music, and I just wanted to pursue that into the future because I find music it's a really cool thing that kind of brings people together, and it doesn't really matter like where in the world you're from because music is kind of it's a universal language. So whether like you speak Spanish or English or any other language, music is still music. So I think it's a pretty cool way to bring people together.
It's a powerful tool, Jill.
Well, you have a beautiful voice, and just the sound of that together says, I am ready for Christmas. But Shawn, maybe talk to that person that says, I don't know if it's just that Thanksgiving was so quick and now here we are in December, or that person who has maybe experienced some loss saying, I just don't know if I can get into the Christmas spirit this year. What would you say to them?
Yeah, what a great question. So I think most of us have some place of pain that gets, that gets stirred during this season. Most of us have people that we love so dearly. I just saw a picture of my grandmother just a couple of days ago on a Facebook memory, and I saw her beautiful smile. And, it's actually very hard for me every Christmas day to wake up and not, even though, of course, I'm no longer a child anymore, as you can probably tell, but not to go to my grandmother's house on Christmas Day, either as a child or an adult, is honestly very, very painful for me. And so, yes, we do have to confront the reality of our real emotions, our real life experiences. At the same time, the entire Christmas story is a story of how close God is to us. And so in my deepest place of pain, as I miss, my grandmother, just as an example, I'm able to just connect with God's nearness, with with what he's done to demonstrate his love to me, what he's done to show me and the entire world that he is near to us. And so I would just encourage our listeners just to maybe consider opening up your heart to God. I just talked with somebody this morning through a text message who's kind of stuck in a facility that she doesn't want to be in, and I was just reminding her that God is with you, and that's not a trite statement. It's a reality. He's with all of our listeners today. So we have a couple of weeks left to prepare ourselves to really celebrate Christmas. And many churches, of course, call this Advent, but whatever you want to call it, why not take a couple of weeks just to spend some time each day asking God to open up your heart so even in those places of pain, he can meet you right where you are.
And a great way to do that is to attend Jazz Nativity this Saturday evening, December 7th. You'll be helping to support the work and the mission of Community Life, which you've heard about today here with Reverend Shawn Allen. We have got links so you can get your tickets at ericandbrigitte.org. Shawn, thank you so much. Walker, thank you as well. So appreciate you both joining us today.
Thank you.
It's 8:25.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay